Good evening and welcome back to Nightfall in Amsterdam. We are rejoining Miranda and Avalon, and we apologize for the abrupt end on the previous scene. There was some technical difficulties, but they find themselves following Angel and Marius first to a crypt and then to an old funerary home at the at the cemetery here as they discuss the possibility of some lodging or residence. You see, Marius is in the lead. He's kind of whistling as he walks. He's got a lantern hanging at his belt. And a shovel kind of like over his shoulder. As he takes the lead and says, "Well, I suppose we'll stop first at the crypt. It's a nice facility, from what I've been told. Perhaps even to die for."
Very well.
That is a joke. I always miss the English jokes. It takes a moment with the translation.
Oh, that's understandable. Especially when we joke about the dead. That seems to be frowned upon some places.
¿Por qué? ¿Por why? Why is that?
Well, it seems to be especially prominent among due to the I believe the Christian practices, to be honest. They just have no respect for the reality of death. They have to find ways to explain it. They have to find ways to rationalize it, to convince themselves it's not bad. Just seems to me that there are much easier ways to accept the reality of death, and part of that is to be able to joke about it. He'll lead you up, and it's a fairly nice looking mausoleum, good stonework, very elaborate. And as he leads you, he says, it's a nice establishment. It's just room for additional residency, that's all.
And you said there's a stone slab.
There's a couple of options. And he'll, as he opens the door, he says, "There's a central slab that would, of course, be the traditional short-term viewing. You know, a family might put someone there as they've recently been deceased for a couple of days, embalming being what it was, before transferring them into the individual crypts along the outer walls.
Right.
So what I got is there. Yes, there is a big central slab.
Correct.
Miranda's gonna gently set the pot down on one part of it, sit down on another end of it where she's not gonna bump it, and then gesture towards Avalon.
Avalon will sit down next to her.
No, she doesn't want you to sit down.
Oh, okay.
She wants you standing in front of her.
Okay. She'll come over.
So, Mija, can you see yourself taking me from right here?
She smirks. Of course.
She's gonna lay down and kind of wrap her legs around you.
She continues to smile at Miranda and runs a finger playfully across her cheek as she proceeds into eyeing up the rest of the space.
Miranda's gonna just lay there, kind of get a feel of how laying on a stone slab feels.
It's a fairly decent space wise. Marius gestures and he says, "As you can see, opportunity is there to remove a couple of the doors, and then the additional crypts serve as fantastic shelving, housing, whatever you may need from it."
It could use a little work, but then we can make it our own.
I suppose one would say it's a bit bare bones.
And that half a second too late laughter happens again.
Avalon just grins. But I suppose we should see the other place just to be safe, yes?
That would be up to you, but it does seem rational.
She looks down at Miranda, who's laying on the stone slab, and offers both arms to her to help her up.
She'll take them and sit up and kind of do that lean in really close and almost hint at a kiss before she slips to the side and gets up.
Let us check out the other place before making any decisions. Though I do like this place. And she smirks again.
She will pick up her plant gently and lovingly.
Mm. Shall we
They
continue then?
follow.
Yeah, I suppose. That seems reasonable. Yeah, heads out and he says, "Oh, is there anything particular you were looking for you didn't see?"
Oh. Well, I do need spaces to grow herbs, but I'm sure that can be done outside along in the outer area of the crypt, yes?
Yeah, there's plenty of square footage.
Depending on the herbs, Mija, we can even hide them in amongst the plants that are already native to the area.
Indeed. She smiles. Is there anything in particular that you're looking for?
Me, Mija?
Yes.
Just a place that is comfortable for our time that we have.
That can be made happen, regardless of where we choose.
Then I do not. Having a place that has a dark space, that is very muy importante.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not just for you sleeping. That is for my flower too.
Yes.
But those are my only requirements, señorita.
Those spaces can also be accommodated, made to be something, I am sure.
Well, there are options. Certainly.
Excellent.
Muy bien. Then let's see this other place for us to look at.
Yeah, gestures and well, of course it's right right around here. And he turns and down a side trail. Leads up to a not even really a garden. It's the like a sitting area or more of a gathering type. And he gestures to the house beyond, and he says, or the building beyond, and he says, it was originally the funerary building that's been converted, of course, into a rather unique residency, which by no means being used entirely.
I guess we shall see what it has inside, see?
Yes.
So he leads you in. There's a couple of fairly empty rooms. He says, as you can see, much of the square footage is not actually being utilized. The current residents are an older couple. There's a single bedroom. Off in the east wing, there's a kitchen, bath, sitting area. But most of the finished region here that we are looking at was originally used for the actual funerary services. And Marius chuckles and he says, the older couple gets uneasy as they feel they are getting too close to the dead.
Well, I mean, I'd say they're pretty close to the dead being here in general.
Which is, of course, why I find it particularly ironic.
They might find me a little too rambunctious for their... what is the word, señorita? He's like the eats, but it's not the eats, it is when you are... what you do when you are eating. I think that is the word. With your tongue. Taste, that is the word.
Yes.
I might be a little too rambunctious for their taste.
Liking, perhaps. When you say older couple, how old do you mean?
He was a college professor. I believe he's in his mid-60s, although it kind of has lost count a little bit. It's the side effect, of course, of enjoying some of my wines.
I think perhaps. Miranda, darling, you're correct.
They are college professors. They may actually want to take a little ride on the Spanish train. One last hurrah, you might say.
Well, in their case, it might definitely be a last hurrah. Hmm.
Which do you like better, señorita?
Well, this seems to have certain features that you need. Kitchen, other things. But I
See,
am
the
sure
restroom is a very big bonus.
there is that as well.
It's good for when the blood gets a little messy for the washings. See,
Yes, yes. Hmm.
I wonder if we could get a bathroom installed in the one down there.
Well, I'm sure it might take some time, but it could happen. What do you think?
Yeah, such things are not out of the question. We do have those who owe us favors. And we know how to do certain things quietly.
I hope you didn't disappear too.
I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm not sure what happened there.
Probably clicked the wrong button.
It is out of the way and not a shared space.
I wonder if she even realizes if she crashed out for a moment.
Me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're
I heard
completely
it.
out of the call.
Weird.
So yeah, we didn't hear anything you just said.
Okay. She'd said that she liked the other place better because it was not a shared space. That was essentially it.
See, that is definitely a very big advantage. And if we can get this small amenity there so that I can house what I need when I am here.
Indeed. I think we can if we
Well,
can
I'm
find someone to do it for a reasonable cost, we can do it.
sure we can arrange something.
A shower, a toilet. I assume you need at the very least a stove, a sink.
I can get a camp stove. That is simple enough.
Very well.
So then the question becomes, if we're going to arrange something that you are residing here, then, well, that would technically put you in within both of our homes and regions. Which means we must come to some arrangement there.
And we must. I'm sure we can assist with keeping up appearances for the plants and upkeep, that sort of nature.
Yeah, we can definitely help with the horticulture of the area.
No, it's definitely a factor too.
And we have a offering. She glances towards Miranda.
With Avalon?
Yeah, I was like, huh?
Yeah, sorry.
An offering, is that what you said?
See, we have an offering. See,
We do.
and she will set the flower down and gently remove the covering, and they will see the red, almost pulsing flower.
Well, that is certainly an unusual item.
Lovely, isn't it?
Angel takes a closer look and he says, "Well, it's certainly a unusual object. I assume it's one of your own."
See, there's been something I have been caring for more than the decades now.
I see.
It is now one of two plants like this. The main plant is still in my home.
Well, it Angel kind of looks forward and says, or leans in closer. He says, "It is very unusual to see someone shape and create such things. I think it would be appropriate for the area, and in fact for some other factors. And he stands up and turns, and Marius leans in, whispering to it. And he says, the spirit of this plant is unique, unusual.
See?
Yes.
It needs blood at least once a month. And it does not like the sunlight.
Marius chuckles. He says, but that I only needed blood once a month. But I can certainly agree to a dislike of the sunlight.
As can I.
Burn easily. And Ingel says, why don't we head Marius to the inner garden? I think that would be most appropriate. And Marius looks at him once and the second time, and then he nods and says, I suppose you're right, Ingel. I think it's appropriate. He we lost her again.
Wow, she's like going out in and out all over.
Giggity.
And right back out.
Mm-hmm.
That's special.
It's true. All right.
Did I miss anything?
No, we put it on hold for you.
Okay. I don't know what happened there, but
I'm not entirely sure either.
my computer might need to be shut down here at some point. It's so hot.
That could be. That can be certainly be a factor. Anyway, he begins leading you guys deeper into the forest section, so to speak. You can see most of the gravestones in this area are broken off
Okay.
He works his way back until finally he gets to a place. There's a number of trees, excuse me, that have been carved and to like after being logged, they've been carved into sculptures of primarily bearded men, but different faces.
Okay.
Sort of totem-looking objects. And he says, "This is the focal point, as it were, for the gardens here at the cemetery. Marius began the work, but it has become a collaboration."
All right.
Then he kind of leans in. And he says, "These are around the bases of these watchers you will find those plants which I have shaped."
She kind of looks down at the bases.
You will find a number of different. It's like a small bell-shaped flower growing up, but the flower looks like a skull. And there are thorn vines that kind of wrap and and weave. Their leaves are purplish, almost black.
Oh.
As he gestures closer, he says, "We have a number of different variations, so to speak. But the skull-shaped ones there, those are our personal favorite."
You're quite lovely.
Well,
Can you tell anything special about these flowers?
give me a
That's what I was
intelligence
gonna say.
and you have a herbology or
INC stuffs? Yeah.
something similar.
Would pharmacopoeia count?
It would.
So what? Intelligence pharmacopoeia here.
Fluffy ones. I have one success.
I have. Let's see. Oops. I have 2. I accidentally hit difficulty 4 on there.
Cheater!
Right? That's why I was like, oh, I have to look and see how many whereas actually what's what. Said the right amount of dice, so. So 2 successes after a 1.
All right.
I had a 1 and a 10.
So there is a deep, almost black variation on wolfsbane. A dark red variation on angel's trumpet. The skull-shaped one you can't entirely identify, but based on the indications you're seeing, these are all highly poisonous plants.
Shut up.
He says a number of these are my own creations, although I must admit that I did not do them alone either. Marius is pretty capable as well with his gardening abilities.
Huh. They're lovely and wow.
Maybe see?
Did you create them for any particular use?
He chuckles and he says, well, when you are dealing with the dead, plants tied to death can be useful. When you need to bring someone to death or near to it, they're also useful.
That I do know.
And then he gestures and he says, and for one such as myself who's been acclimated to these particular strains, they make a wonderfully delicious floral tea. However, and he looks over at Marius and he says, for those who might think that you are easy prey or they want to strike at you to get to a rival, such as Marius, drinking becomes a substantially deeper problem. And Marius steps forward and he says, Well, as you may know, you feed on someone intoxicated, you get an alcoholic buzz. You feed on
Mm-hmm.
someone who's imbued opioids, you get a wonderful high. You feed on someone with toxic levels of poisons, and it's excessively painful and tends to drive you to torpor.
Ouch.
And he uh, Angel gestures to the wolf's bane and he says, "That's a fun one right there, too." Because,
Is it now?
see, should a skin changer imbibe that or have it introduced through a wound, they find themselves cut off from their spiritual self.
She raises an eyebrow.
So, should one of them perhaps, for example, rend me with their fangs and draw blood, well, soon enough they no longer have a reservoir of spiritual power. They no longer have access to a spiritual realm until the poison works its way out of their system. And in all fairness, I could have used almost any strain of poisonous plant, but if I'm going to live in a cemetery that inspires artists, I think there's a certain level of art to using wolfsbane for a skin changer poison.
Yes, I must agree. I don't know much about skin changers. It does make sense.
See, are these skin changers a big problem here?
They are not necessarily a problem, but they are certainly present.
Better to be safe than sorry, yes?
Correct.
Perhaps when you have more time, I would like to learn what more you know, if anything more, on these skin changers. You hear many tales, as it were, but sometimes tales are just that.
Yes, I suppose stories do tend to grow and become embellished. We can certainly, would certainly be happy to discuss further. That being said, the prince of our area has some very interesting ideas on such things too.
Oh?
Well, that would happen when you are a Germanic paganist, I suppose.
Hmm.
But as it seems we have worked out an arrangement for residency, I suppose I need to contract some renovation services. And I suppose you may want to wish to bring your belongings in.
Yes.
Is there anything else specific you wish for this evening? Otherwise, I will make the. Simply for documentation purposes, I'm going to make the prince aware that you are in town and will be introducing yourself in the near future, but had to make arrangements first for residence. Simply so he doesn't kill me for harboring a unknown foreigner. Nothing.
That's fair.
Nothing personal.
Well, I mean,
Well, then, if there's nothing else, and Marius kind of takes his shovel and does a fancy little twirl with it. He says, I suppose I have some work to do.
I wish you luck.
Says, as long as I don't hit a hot spring, or a spring, I'm going to call it a lucky day.
I could see that being a little messy. I suppose we should start preparing our things. Make arrangements to add a few things into the crypt, yes.
Yeah.
I suppose. Here are gate keys as well. And
Thank you.
the angel says I will add you to the place wards as well. Or I should say I will work you into the wards so that you can pass without issue.
Much appreciated.
Excellent. Well, and if there's nothing else you need from me, you have access, of course, to the facility. You have access to the crypt. Oh, I know. He pulls out an old parchment map and he looks.
That
Looks and
happened.
then crashes.
Right.
Well, at least it wasn't you this time, because you've crashed out 1, 2, 3, 4 times already.
Disturbed by anyone else.
You were crashed out while you were talking, so we don't know what you just said.
I knew it crashed part way. So,
Like right away.
Yeah, like right the moment you mentioned pulling out the map.
okay. He takes a couple of flowers, crushes them up, and uses them as ink. Marks out a couple of regions and says, "Here is a couple areas you can use for your own purposes, and will ensure that they are not disturbed by any of the day staff."
Excellent, thank you.
Muchas gracias, señor.
Well, I think that should do it. I will let you do your thing, and if there's anything else you need, let us know.
Thank you. We'll let you get back to your work.
Excellent. And he will, he hands you the map and the keys and heads out.
Yeah.
Unless there's anything else you guys need, we will wrap it up there.
I can't think of anything.
Nope, I'm good.
All right.
All right. Well, this has been our first and second Nightfall in Amsterdam scenes due to technical difficulties. We thank everyone for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you all in the coming nights.